AI has changed many things. It has changed how we work, how we create, how we promote, how we write, probably how we think these days too. And one way AI has made a difference, and I think a lot of us have not noticed up to this point, is in the way consumers, customers buy, how they interact with your brand and your product. And that's what I'll be talking about with today's guest on the Tech Your Business podcast. Today's guest is Shahar. She's going to talk about this topic with us. Don't worry, I might be skipping a bit because it's difficult getting back on interviewing after after a very long time. So bear with me. So welcome to the show, Shahar.
Wow, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So can you tell us about how you got into studying this about this area, AI, and how it interacts with how customers, consumers behave?
Yes. Well, I specialized in consumer behavior as a whole, right? And we have seen many changes over the years. The pandemic, for example, was one that shifted the behavior quite drastically. And the interesting part about behavior is that once it changes, it doesn't go back.
Hmm.
And that's the problem sometimes for entrepreneurs because once they have the formula of what's working for them, they don't like change, so they tend to just wait and see if it goes back, right? Now with AI, for in the world, they've been living with AI for the last 3 years, right? But the consumer is really something that they are adopting right now, but it's fast changing their behavior. The interesting thing here, Peter, is that I believe this is going to be the biggest change we have seen in behavior. Because not only we are seeing them adopting AI is slowly getting into their lives in a way that they're not even conscious about, but they are using it, right? So this will cause major shifts in behavior. The other interesting thing is that it is the first time that we have five generations in the workforce at the same time,
Hmm.
right? And in all the other very big changes in human behavior, most of us were not alive. It's the first time that we are seeing this in real time and having to adapt and adopt at the same time. So I think it's a fascinating time to be here and seeing all these things happening.
No, just thinking of you saying five generations in the workforce, and it's actually it's true and surprising. It's true and
Yeah,
surprising. So now,
yeah.
what are the biggest differences you've seen AI make in how customers, consumers interact, behave?
Well, we are now expecting more, right? Several things have happened with us as human beings since the pandemic, right? We have isolated ourselves a lot more. We are working from home most of the time. We are staying home a lot more. But with AI, I started customizing my house to all my needs, right? So I can have, the music I want.
Hmm.
Maybe next year we are going to have a robot cooking and cleaning inside the house. The lights go on when I need. So everything is catered to me, and it's very interesting because as a consumer, I start expecting hyper personalization on everything I interact with. I want something for me. The reasons behind that, first of all, because I'm already crafting the environment where I feel the safest, especially here in the US. The home is a safe space for us. I'm caring and everything is going according to what I want. The second reason is one in every five Americans feel very lonely. As a
Hmm.
whole, we are losing our social skills because we're staying home, right? If you think about this, Peter, at the same time that offers a lot of possibilities out there for business owners, is also a little scary. And why is this scary? Because if I always have all the information, everything around me catered just for me, where is my critical thinking? Where do I have difficult conversations? Where do I learn how to disagree? So I don't know. I think it's a bit scary what's ahead of us if we keep this behavior. But at the same time, as a business owner, I just think, okay, so people now want hyper personalization in everything that they do. How can I cater this to them? And there are many, many ways of doing that. But I need to be aware. I do need to think, okay, they want this. How do I provide something that they will be happy with the experience they have with me? And with AI, there are many, many ways I can do that. In my report, for example, I talk about the 24/7 being the star of your own show as a human being, because with AI, I can wake up and my coffee machine will make the perfect coffee. My mirror may tell me I need to go to the dentist again, right? And I'm going to be totally monitored all the time. We do that already with smartwatches, right? They tell us when we are stressed, how many heartbeats, how many steps we took in a day. Uh, all these kind of things are monitoring my health and my mental health as well. So how can businesses provide to that? In many cases, they can have apps also monitoring or helping scheduling and organizing. All these things will help monitor, right? Or I can simply have, as in a restaurant, a menu that cater to what I like if I am a continuous customer there, right? It can suggest me even before I open the menu. Hey, you ate the picanha last time. Why don't you go now for a churrasco kind of noodles or something like that?
And I think that many thing is interesting because a lot of times you go into a restaurant and you don't really know what you want to order. So if they can always suggest for you based on your preferences what you've ordered before, I think that's an interesting take on the personalization stuff. And funny enough, the most viewed episode was on this topic, personalization with AI. So it's
Oh,
actually
really?
very yeah. So I think it's something a lot of people are interested in and things like that. So now, but when you talk about this, you talked about this something like, let's take your example, a restaurant having a menu catering to the needs of the individual consumer or customer. For if it's not a chain, a large restaurant chain, won't this be an expensive thing, expensive venture to undertake?
Well, it depends. Yes and no, because today you have many possibilities that are not expensive whatsoever for the small business owner to have, and they still will cater in a personalized way. You have to understand, as a business owner, where the money is for you, right? And many of us, we think is always bringing new customer, but the gold mine is really in making the people that are already spending money with you to keep spending money with you. It's a lot cheaper for you to sell again to an existing customer than to keep generating leads all the time. But when we look in the day-to-day operations of small business owners, they don't have the time to do the follow-up that is necessary with the customer, right? So very simple things that any size of business could have today is, for example, the voice AI answering the phone. It's unbelievable, and on my site I have some examples in different industries. It's unbelievable how it is today. It's very different than a year ago. It can talk to you on a very personal level. We did, for example, an example as a funeral home, and the AI was extremely sympathetic to the person and helped them choose whatever they needed to choose in that situation. We also had an example of a tattoo parlor where the AI was able, this without any pre-programming, right? It's the AI carrying the conversation, what the style of the tattoo was and things like that. And it can schedule meetings for you, can make sales, it can just answer the phone. Because think about this, Peter. If I'm a small business owner, let's say I have a retail shop and I'm busy with customers at the store and the phone is ringing, I have to choose. And technically, you would choose who is in front of you, ready to spend the money, right? So
Yeah.
you leave that phone call for later. Well, if your average sales is $100 and you miss one a day of those, just one, we know we miss more than those. How much is that in a year that you're leaving on the table, right? And AI for that, I mean, you can have that for the price of an expensive dinner a month, right? You can also have AIs re-engaging with customers. We all have customers that have come, bought from us, and have not been around for 6 months, let's say. Well, the AI could go and cater to those customers and say, hey, we notice you haven't come to our salon again. Isn't that the time to have a special new cut since we are in a new year? Why don't you schedule a time? The AI could be doing that for them. So anything that is related to customer care, AI can do for any size of a small business. Actually, consultants, very small to large corporations, and it doesn't cost a lot.
So when you say it doesn't cost a lot, what range are we looking at?
Well, you have different companies out there offering this, right? In our case, you would be paying around 297 for the AI's part, right? But that also gives you the basic automation. So, for example, pre-schedule messages, all your social media management. That's another thing that for most people consumes a lot of time, but it's necessary. So it can cater for all that. So it's a 360 solution here. But you do have all types of prices out there, more than that and less than that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so I think this leads me to the next question, talking about voice AI. How do you see people react, especially when they know what they are talking to is not a real human being?
Well, first of all, in today's AI, is hard to see they are not human. It's really unbelievable to do that. But what I can tell you is that Harvard did a study, and 83% of the population right now rather talk to any type of automated system that will solve the problem right away without small talk than the normal, hey, how you doing today? So they do like that option, right? They do like that option. So that's when you know, okay, if they adopt, it's a go, right? You really want things that have been tested before putting in front of the consumer, because it can cost you a lot of money to try to introduce something totally new. But if you already say, okay, I don't like the small talk, I don't like whatever else that for example, I don't like small talk. If you start asking me about the weather, if I'm celebrating something, I start going, oh, I don't like that. I have a question and want an answer. Well, I think I am into those 83% that want that.
Yeah. Okay. So now I think you mentioned earlier that we have five generations in the workforce at the same time. How have you seen these five generations use AI to influence their buying decisions, and how have you seen them react to AI in the customer process?
There's a good side and a bad side for everything, right? Let's start with the older one, because that's the one I know the best,
Yeah.
the baby boomers. Well, that's the funny thing, because it is a generation that is becoming invisible. If you think on the day to day, things that annoy this generation a lot, because it is a generation of rebels, right? The baby boomers have cut every tradition in generations before them, so they want to be the rebel, and they adopt very fast. So they are using AI, right? I have friends that they not only have the smartwatch, they have the smart glasses, they have all the device that I cannot say the name, or else it's going to start talking to me. They clap the hands to for the lights to go on. So they're very good adopters of all this technology, right? The bad side of that is that they can also be very vulnerable to all types of scams out there. So for example, in the UK, and I forgot the name of the AI, they put an AI of an old lady on the phone, and her job is to answer the scammers.
Oh, from the
And
banks.
it goes crazy. Have you
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
her?
yeah. So that, yeah.
I think that is amazing, right? Because they get angry at her. They get really, and while that they are being tracked, and the authorities can do something about it. So it's a great use. The bad side is also that sometimes we take for real what it is not, right? So for example, we see something that clearly could not be real on a reel that we are going on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever, and we believe it is real. That is okay if I'm seeing something silly, but for example, during elections, political topics, things that make us very angry, it's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and unfortunately, we are seeing that happen. People that embrace everything as real without questioning. That's where we have again to think: Am I exercising my critical thinking every day and every moment, or I just allow things to come to me? Because that's not what we want, especially with a machine that can have, a zillion times more information than I can and can process that information a lot faster. The other generations, they are adopting this very fast as well. The younger generation, especially the Gen Zers, they are very socially conscious, and
Mm.
what they do as consumers is expect that the business owner is also conscious about that. So here are some ways that a business owner, let's use the example of a restaurant, for example. I can have the menu, and when I point at a certain dish, it shows me the back end, the kitchen, how it's prepared, or it mentions that it's all local items that I'm using, that I'm supporting local farmers.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware of that. The baby boomers are not as conscious, for example, as just Gen Zers. They really pay attention to that when they adopt a brand or not, right? So we need to be very clear that we are supporting local businesses, good practices, cleaning the environment, whatever is the case of your business, right? It's very important to that. Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, yeah, you did. You did. You did
Because I
for the
can keep
different
talking.
yeah, for the different age groups. You did.
Yeah, the Gen Xers, they are a mixed group, right? But they we are all adopting AI very fast with the devices. Like I told you, it probably will become the time, and I'm talking about a year or two from now, that it's just going to be an extension of who we are.
Mm.
Right. So we are going to use AI in our day to day. I call it this in my report, the digital doppelganger. So we create twins of ourselves, and we can create that in all formats. I did several videos with tips about AI where it was not really me, but you
Mm.
can hardly tell. You have to pay a lot of attention, and then you can see it is not. But it's a good way that I don't have to be in front of the camera and
Yeah.
do it. But we can do that with any task that we want now, with emails, like I said, with phone calls. So we are duplicating ourselves all the time, and this is going to be common because that free us time. We will have more time,
Mm.
and then you have to question. Okay, a consumer 2 years from now, how is it going to be? And if I have more free time, understand that there are professions that will disappear due to AI. Others will
Yeah.
change, and that's just normal with any change in society, right? But I'll have more time in my hand, and then the what's important for me will change. Because, for example, if I have more time, I will be more conscious of how I can spend that. I'm going to go after real experiences. So if you are in a business that offers those experiences, be it travel agency, or you are to local tour guide, or any other type that can offer a deeper experience, we are going to go for that. But we are going to go to extreme experiences as well. We want that I can get the most of whatever ride I'm taking, whatever I'm doing, right? And as a business owner, I can cater to that. And the opposite is also true. Because if I'm connected the whole time, if I'm being monitored the whole time, is a low overload on myself and my emotions, right? So I will also need time off.
Mm.
So, if you are in a business like a yoga instructor, massage, or any other type of coaching that people have to detach from devices, you are also in a good position. It's not the end for you. It's actually a huge opportunity because we need to take a break from all this. How
Yeah.
I cannot spend the whole day just in connection with what's not real and duplicating myself and all the monitoring. I will need time off as well, and that is a good chance for businesses.
Okay. So now for businesses who are concerned about these changes in consumer behavior, what are some, I know you mentioned some earlier, but like the restaurant menu and cool, but what are some simple things that they can do to adapt to this new buying habits?
I think the first thing is becoming aware of the tools out there and playing with them. Peter, you're probably not going to believe how many business owners I talk to that they open an account on Chat GPT but never used it. They
Wow.
kind of know what it is, right? I bet you use it, right?
Yeah.
So so it's unbelievable because you have this group of people, they're busy on the day-to-day things, but then they come and they haven't tried yet, so they are not aware exactly what it can do. So it becomes very difficult to say, okay, you should be doing this or that, because it's very foreign to them, right? But the first thing is, let's get used to this. Let's try Chat GPT, let's try a video one, let's try, there's an AI for anything you can think of today, right? I don't have it here, but the other day I like 3D printing, and I went to an AI and put, I want a robot like this and that, and he created one for me. I have a bigger one. He
Wow.
created a guy in 5 seconds, right? And then I just put it to print. So for whatever you think there is an AI out there, you are passionate about stuff, go look for an AI that does what you're passionate about and try it. Maybe Mid Journey, and you play with creating images. The whole thing about this is just get comfortable with, so you know what you like, what you don't like, and then you can start thinking, how could I offer something to my clientele that would benefit. And I would start, if you ask me, what are the five main questions you get every single day from your customers? We all have them, right? Or
Yeah.
the five main complaints that they come to you about, right? Because we all also have them. They complain about this, they complain about that. And then the next question is there an AI that could solve this problem for me on an everyday basis? Because you, as a business owner, you should spend your time thinking about growth, thinking about
Mm.
how to scale, think about being different than what you are now. So, you can leave a legacy, you can make more money, you can move to Puerto Rico, whatever you want. But you should be thinking about that and not on the day to day operations. For those things, most of them, there will be an AI that is able to do it for you. You may not have the budget to all of them, but you will have some specific ones that you can use with the customer to be able to do that scaling. And not using that, frankly, it's going to leave you behind, because the change we are going to see this year and the next year, they are going to be massive. So if you just, keep waiting to see what happens, you are going to be left behind.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, mentioning the change coming, I've seen a whole lot change. I think I was on an interview a couple of hours ago, and I was talking about AI being my fastest promoted employee that doesn't complain, and I'm sure it's the same thing for a lot of other people. So looking to the future, the near future, what do you think business owners should expect in consumer behavior changes in the world of AI in the next few years? Where do you think this is all going?
Well, in the sense of employees, the basic mundane tasks, they will be replaced by AI. No questions about that. Myself, I have a production company. A year ago, we had 16 employees. Today, we're down to three, and they
Wow.
are in key points of the company that they can make decisions, because AI is not very good at that at the moment. Everything else is being handled by automation and
Oh.
AI. Right. So you have to think as a business owner, because it's not only the money that it costs. And I'm not saying, everybody is going to lose their jobs. They need to get acquainted with AI and transform themselves in whatever is needed next. But I have to think how much money I spend, how much headaches that brings me, right? Because a lot of people can bring you a lot of headaches on the day-to-day operation. So we have to think about how that can be replaced from a business perspective, and how can we keep the ones we like in what roles, because there are many roles that AI cannot use for. Now, in consumer behavior, again, we are going to see major shifts. The hyper personalization is one. The want for them to be more and more inside the house is another one. here in the US, unfortunately, it's getting to a point that you are concerned about leaving the home to go to a supermarket, right? Because of all mass shootings. And well,
Yeah.
that naturally makes my house a safe space, and then I want my house to look like my personality. So home remodeling, having service professional.
Mm.
How many hairdressers right now go to your house instead of you going to the salon? Right, the groomers that come to your house on a van or something to groom your dog instead of you taking. So you
Yeah.
have lots of opportunities in that arena, and I don't think that will change in the near future unless society as a whole here would change. All the health, the mental health professionals, all types of them, because again, this isolation is good up to a point. It has a very damaging effect as well. We see with the Gen Z generation, for example, they have a very hard time with difficult conversations. Very hard time. They don't like to confront anybody. That's not good because
Yeah.
life is has lots of ups and downs, and there are moments that you will have to disagree, you have to have a difficult conversation. So professionals that help with that, all types of coaches that help with that, have a huge opportunity here because we know it is going that way, it's already that way, and is only going to get worse, right? And people that put limits on everything, because again, if we don't exercise our critical thinking, I'm going to allow a machine to start making decisions for me, and that's not very good. Because just imagine, I used that example before, that if you are in an AI driven car and an accident is going to happen, who is going to decide who the car will kill, the pedestrian or yourself? We have these ethical considerations that the AI at this point is not able to do. So it's not able to make ethical considerations. The ethics that it has is the ethics that the programmers put inside. Decisions should always be yours, and not allow the machine to do it. But if we lose our critical thinking, we are going, okay, you decide. And that's not a healthy thing to do. So, Peter, people like you that have podcasts out there, I think part of your mission is really to educate people on all the sides of what's
Yeah.
changing right now, because we can use it in, it can be dangerous. uh, we have now many sites, for example, that offers a companion that is
Yeah.
an AI. And we had a case here in the US with a boy that believed the AI, and the AI kept saying, come live with me, come be with me. And unfortunately, he decided to
Wow.
do that. So we have to be careful that Meta is going to release the AI friends now on Facebook and on Instagram. So that's another big change that you're going to see, because if all my we already filter the friends we
Yeah.
want, right? If a friend voted in another candidate, we block them, right? They cannot like what we don't like. So we already filter the information that we see, because then the algorithms say, oh, she leans that way, so I'm only going to show information that way. Well, now I'm going to have AI friends. They are going to be amazing friends. They are going to think I'm beautiful every
Yeah.
day. I don't need to stick. I don't need to lose weight. It's going to be amazing, but it's not going to be
Mm.
social or real. What's the point of social media if there is no
Yeah.
social? So, it's a guess between you and me now. Will social media disappear or not? Because why we go there? We go there for two basic reasons. Well, I think three. One, you want to snoop on your friends. Uh, Either you want the social part, the interaction, or you want to know what people think, how they are, and how they feel. That's TikTok. That is
Yeah.
also, we don't know if we need to keep on going here, but it's an amazing tool because not only entertains you, it also gives you the news, and people say what they want, which is very important to any American, right? But they're trying to go away with that. But if the AI friends come, and we have AI influencers, actually there was an Asian AI influencer that sold
Whoa.
$1 billion in revenue on TikTok. So that is also happening. Will we be interested in being there?
That's actually an important question, and I think one thing I always talk about too is the part you mentioned about critical thinking. Because I know growing up, we would write essays, many page essays, where you think about them from scratch, the structure and everything. But I don't think anyone is going to be doing that going forward, because it's just so easy to generate something. And yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So we'll see this with social media. If Meta really releases that, I think that will cause a big change in behavior. I don't, for them they are doing this because if we engage more, there's more advertising money. But I don't know how far we are wanting to go with something that is not really real or social. I mean, it's called social media for a reason,
true.
but if there is no social,
It
yeah,
doesn't
I
really
don't know.
work.
It's a brave new world, Peter. We are going to, I believe this year and the next one, we are going to see ourselves changing quite a bit. And we are going to be asking a lot of questions, and we should. For example, we are going to see humanoid robots in our houses. There is a company, and it's not the American one, that is releasing one right
Wow.
now at the beginning of the year. Well, you have to ask how much I would love somebody to cook all day long for me, and I really, the kitchen is not my favorite place. I would love that, but how much do I want a humanoid robot that is able to record everything that happens in the house, that is able to track all the behaviors in the house? I don't know how much I'm comfortable with that. So that's one question we need to ask. What are the limits that we are going to require from companies? Because I for sure don't want a multi-billionaire knowing every single thing that happens
Yeah.
inside my house or recording. So we need to have limits on that. So the idea is very exciting, but we also need to demand limits on all of these things, because these are private companies, and even if they weren't, how much do you want them inside your house? So where are the limits? And it's up to us to start demanding that, and just not putting that. The other question we have to think is, will this cause even a bigger social gap? Because the person that has $20,000 to put a humanoid robot or two inside the house will be able to use their time differently, will be able to be productive in a different way than others that don't have the money to do the
Yeah.
same. What is it going to cause as a society? Is it going to make it even wider, the gap that we have? In some countries, that might not make a huge change, but in other countries, it can be damaging, and we need to be aware that this can happen.
Amazing. So now for tools, you've talked about a couple of tools, talked about the one that helped you duplicate yourself, make a video without you being in the video, different things you've um tried and used. So can you recommend some tools for the listeners, AI tools that they can use to save their time, improve their workflow, and things like that?
I use one for PowerPoints, for example, that I like a lot. It's called
Oh.
Gamma, app.gamma. And
Oh
have you
yeah,
used
Gamma
that?
AI.
It's really, yeah, you put the information there and it creates an amazing presentation for you
Wow.
to give. I don't like to use PowerPoint a lot, but there are some engagements that you have to use. And it's amazing because before you would take me the whole day and I would end up with a crappy slide anyway, right? And that in seconds, it saves a lot of time. Another tool that I use a lot and is very good for marketing and brainstorming and copywriting as well is Claude.
Oh.
Claude is the
Yeah,
cousin
that's
of
my favorite
ChatGPT, right?
actually.
Yeah, it is my favorite too. I create the projects, and we move from them from there. A lot of brainstorming is done with that one. I like that one for video that I use, and is not to generate you as an AI, but it can create a video without you being there, which saves a lot of time as well. Is OSSA, OSSA dot
Oh.
AI. I use that because then I just put the text and it creates the video for me with the text, and I can choose the accent that they will have or not. It's fast and it's a faceless video, but faceless video today is working, and there it is. These are a few that I use. I'm not a techie person. I ask for my daughter to help me a lot, but these are I use every
Wow,
day.
amazing, amazing. So I think those are really
Yeah.
Gamma, Claude, Osa AI. Those are things that listeners, watchers should check out and see if they would help out in their business. So for any
Yeah.
listener who wants to learn more about today's topic, wants to connect with you or anything else, what's the best way they can reach you?
If they go to my website, proptalkie.com, prop like property and talkie like walk
Okay.
talkie, proptalkie.com, not only they will be able to see examples of AI, they can contact me any point in time. If they scroll down, they can also get my free reports. I have one on the 8 basic human changes that we are seeing right now. And I have the 5 step to a resistible business. So how can you become attractive to the market as it is right now? And they can get those for free as well, just at the bottom of the page.
So proptalkie.com, that'll be on the screen and in the show notes once the
Yeah,
episode goes live. Yeah.
awesome. And if they call the phone number, an AI will answer,
Oh,
so they can check that.
wow, wow, wow. Nice. That's nice. That's amazing. So, I think anyone, if you want to listen to AI answer your calls, you can just go on there and try it out.
Yeah,
So, thank you so much for coming on the Tech and Business Show today.
my pleasure.
Thank you. And for the listeners, I hope you learned something today how AI is influencing customer behavior. You learned about the different tools Shahar recommended. You learned about the different ways she's using AI. You saw she was able to reduce workforce from 16 to 3, which I'm sure you would want to talk more with her about. So thank you so much. And if you learned anything, share it with anyone who you believe would learn something from this episode. And till next week when we're back with a brand new episode, don't forget to keep taking your business. Bye for now.